Now, if you've watched this show before, you know these are colors I'm not Miss Pink person. Okay, here comes a good one. Something unexpected in the shadows. I like to put unexpected things everywhere. I don't know, you ever remember being a kid and playing with the shadows on the wall and doing little birds? Hi, welcome to Give Your Walls Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom. Well, I went out this weekend and it was stormy, but I really needed to get out of the studio and get outside, so I headed toward the coast, which is one of my favorite places to go. And so I went out there and I actually shot some video. I go outside and the wind is blowing so hard that there's a river of sand. I mean, this is wet sand just flowing like a river. It was wild. And I got it on video, and it was hard too. It's stinging me in the face, but it was just exhilarating. And wet, cold, rainy. But you know, a change of scene is, as wild as that was, is really good to stir up some creativity and get you going in a different direction. So right before the storm, it didn't look so bad out there. It was kind of quiet, it was peaceful, and I was driving along the coast on Highway 1 in California, and I saw this very pastoral, foggy, misty, mellow scene, and that's what we're going to paint tonight. Now, the interesting thing about that is I did a study of this scene earlier in the day today, and my mood was very calm, mellow, and in about an hour and a half, I got a first statement done. Well, today we've only got an hour, and so and I'm in a different place. So this is going to be a good exercise for you to see the difference in energy and what that makes and what that brings to a painting, and also you can see how I got it blocked in. So where am I going to start? Well, the first painting I did was very mild, very pastel. I'm going to start. And instead of, you can typically start, back to front, left to right. I'm starting right in the middle, right with the red, because that's where I want it. I just need to get that energy going right away. I'm going to go, and you hear me in the opening of the show say, I'm not a pink person. Well, today I am, because this quinacridone rose is just talking to me. Love it. So I'm going to use some of that and base that in. So, it's very different when you start in the center of a painting. It's like you're going deep, you're going within. Oops. I've got to find the right brush. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a filbert. Got it. All right. So I'm going to grab some straight rose, which is a little interesting because you don't normally put straight tube color in, but you know what? I'm just in the mood. All right, so where do I see this river? There's some here. Okay. I could go straight for the red, but then I would lose my place. But I'm going to block in just a little bit of it down at the bottom here. Right there. And where else do I see it? Maybe just in irregular shapes too. I don't want the whole thing to be one straight line. Okay, I'm going to tone it down a little bit, believe it or not. A little bit of white, a little bit of cad yellow deep, throw in some more. God, it was, what a contrast, because here you have this side of the street where the river is, this side of the highway. Coast is on this side, the river's on this side. And it was very quiet, peaceful. I take the picture, I get out of the car, go to the other side, and boom, it just went nuts. It was crazy. The cold storm too, so it took me a while to get warm. All right, so I'm going to block in some of the pink. There we go. A little bit here. A little bit here. Kind of goes just to the top of this. I don't even know what that shape is. The composition's slightly different here. I did not want to do the same thing. Let's see, there's some that there. That's good. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of light. I've got to wipe my brush. Because I kind of went overboard with the quinacridone rose. It's too early to go overboard yet. All right, so I'm going to throw in some of this here. Now there's a good case for why would you start in the back and move forward. Because when you blend it, you need to have these things underneath. But I just plain didn't feel like it. All right, so this is coming up here. That looks good. How far over does this go? That's close enough. We're not doing exactly the same scene. We're doing something similar. Can't paint the same thing in the same way ever. Okay, so I'm going to throw some green in there. I'm just going to use this pink on the brush. That's dirty, and a little bit of this cool green because I really like this. It's going to have a lot more color to it. All right, so I took some sap green and permanent green, mixed them together. I will do this with the dirty brush with the pink on it. So I'm mixing yet again. I'm going to throw in this down right here. And this is in a straight line that kind of comes up like this. What is this little river thing doing here? And then there's some more right here. I'm going to have to get another brush because I didn't get all the pink in. I missed a spot. That happens. I lose my place. You just keep going. All right. So I'm going to grab some more of this pink. I'm lightening it up a little bit. I'm looking at it thinking it needs a little orange, but I'm not going to mess with it yet. Whoops. So, okay, here's a case where I got some green in the pink where I didn't intend, and I'm just rolling with it. Going to add some interest. All right. So right now it's just this pink wild little line, and I'm going to push this grass right up into it like this. And I better get a paper towel and keep wiping my brush, otherwise I'll have mud. There's mud in this river, but not right here. Now the energy is going to be totally different because I really want to get a first statement done in an hour. So we'll see what kind of stroke work, what happens in a case like that. All right, I'll throw a little bit of pink right underneath it. I'm actually going to grab some hot pink, which I didn't do in the first piece, but I'm going to do it here. Oh, that's good. I used a little cooler, lighter pink in the original. So I was listening to mellow music. Everything influences how you paint. What's happened during the day, whether or not you're talking to people on TV. Okay. Yeah, I need a smaller brush. Now I'm going for some straight purple, I'm going to ground this thing. Oh man, I had a little problem with the purple today. I'll show you what I did. Everywhere I'd go, every time I'd do something, there was purple. There was purple on my clothes, on my desk, and all over the studio. I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And I took some tape and finally figured out there was a leak in the tube, so you can take some tape and wrap it around, and that helps. Well, I found out there were like lots of leaks in the tube, so every time I'd wash my hands, think I'd get it cleaned off. I didn't, so I covered the whole tube in tape, and that's a good way to do it. So how did this happen? Well, you don't want to use the tube bringer to get it, extract all the paint until a little bit later. I think I did it, I was a little aggressive a little too soon. And so this is about showing restraint, which you know, that's something I work on all the time. So, so when you don't and things don't work the way you want, just get some tape, wrap it around here, and hopefully that'll keep you clean. Till I do something else. Okay, so I'm going to throw some purple here down here and ground it. This little river needed to be grounded. And I need some more, I think this green needs to go all the way up to here. And I'll ground that. That's good. Now it was a gray day, so this water is not going to be a reflection of a blue sky. It's going to be gray. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to take a little bit of white, mix it with some Cad Yellow Deep. I think I need more paint than that. That looks like a sherbet color. And tone it down with just a tiny bit. I mean, just a little bit of phthalo turquoise because it takes over. And that's a little too warm for the day. The day was cool. I'm going to cool it down with a little bit of ultramarine blue. There we go. That's a nice gray. It's still warm because I can't paint that cool. I'm not saying it's bad to paint that cool. I'm saying I can't do it. Everybody's got their own sensibility, and you got to go with what feels good to you. So what I do is, I know that you know, within a painting, I will have warm and cool areas, but my overall paintings are going to have a warm tone to them. Okay, so I'm throwing in some sky, which pretty much looks invisible. Here, but I threw it down to see if I like the color, and yeah, that's working. And I'm going to put the same basic color down in the river. I love rivers. So much life in them. And this, I mean, here we are in the middle of a gray day, in the middle of a storm where you wouldn't think you'd find a lot of color, and there was the most beautiful, subtle color. It was just gorgeous. I mean, I really am not making up these, well, at least in that painting, the colors. I'm pretty much painting what I saw. Okay, so maybe it's turned up a little bit, but not much. All right, I like that. And I think I want to just blend it all away because it didn't have a lot of movement. This was the calm before the storm. So I took a dry brush, did crisscross strokes, and blended away all my strokes. Almost so you couldn't tell I was here. There. All right, that's quiet. And we'll throw in some more water. Where do we have more water? We have some right here. Picked up a little violet. It's gonna happen. It's okay. I'm gonna add a little bit of, just a touch of blue just for interest. Now the thing is, I have to be careful that this doesn't become too pastel-y, too sweet. And I will tone that down with some neutrals in a little bit. But right now I just want to get the canvas covered. This is going to be a very loose, as you can see from the study over there, very loose interpretation of the scene. I'm going for the feeling. It's just a very soft, quiet feeling. Okay, so where else do I see some water? All right, we got clouds here. We got this. It was kind of coming over the top of that. So let's see. We'll grab a little medium. And it kind of just follows that. A little wider. That's good. So I started off in the middle, then I picked areas that were similar in color and went with that. Now I think what I'll do is go from back in the distance to the foreground, because I really need to make sure that the trick here is to really make sure that I am consistent in keeping this area back here light. And the tendency that I have would be to make things too bright, too dark. So I'm going to do this. It's like writing an essay. When you're a kid and you write longhand and you start off and you're nice and tidy, you're very conscious of how tidy you want this thing to be. And then by the end of the essay, it's all, well, maybe you could keep it going all the way through, but I don't know about you, but mine's all over the page. The margins are off. It's just, you forget, you're just writing. Well, that's the same thing with the painting experience. So for me, so I know where I've got to be careful is in this beginning stage, right back here. So I'm going to do that at first, because by the end of the show, I'll forget to be careful. Happens. All right, so what do I want? I want some violets back here. The mountains just really look purple to me. So I'm going to take some of this Carbazole violet that was all over everything. Okay, let's see how that looks. Is that too, oh God, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so rather than play with that, I'm just going to move it over, maybe some of it, add some green, a little violet to tone it down. Oh, might as well grab the whole pile because that's not working either. Okay, there we go. We're getting a gray there. Now this is a green-gray. It may not be what I did in the first painting. I'm going to see if I like it. Do I like it? Is it working? Well, it's too dark. It looked all right. It looked fairly light on the palette, but it's way too dark for what's going on here. I could probably use it later. So I'm going to take what's on my knife, move that over into this light area, grab some white. Oops. I picked up some yellow. I did not mean to do that. So I'm gonna continue mixing. Looks like deviled eggs. I will move that over. I'm getting a fresh tube of white and we're starting all over. So things just happen and you got to roll with it. If you don't roll with it, it makes you tired. All right, there we go. All right, so see, there's just yellow here. Okay, so first it was purple, now there's yellow that's taking over. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of this. There we go. And add a little bit of violet, just a little bit. I got it. Okay. Now it does not look very dark here, but it will look different. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the first one, there's going to be very little value contrast. I'm going to use a dirty brush. And so this hill here, very little contrast at all. And then as we get, now I can get the dirty brush and go into this other color that I made that wasn't working. And it goes a little bit darker. It's a little closer. And I'm scrubbing in the pencil line so that doesn't show. Okay, that's good. And now it's a little closer yet. So let's see, I will grab a little more violet. I was tempted to just stick my brush in the straight violet, but that wouldn't have been good. That'll happen later in the show, when I forget to be careful again. All right. That's even closer, so it's a little warmer, a little darker. And I'm going to vary this little mountain range, or not mountain range, it's some little hills. Does not have to be the same as the other piece. Okay, and then I saw, what did I see in there? There was some green. I'm going to grab a little sap green. A lot of color variation, so just pay attention to what you see and put it down. I'm going to grab some sap green. Again, it's in the distance. I don't want to overdo this. You know, I'm really trying to show restraint here. Okay, so we've got some trees, something going on in the background, shrubs. Ooh, I was going to go straight in there, but don't do that. All right, so there's some shrubs right here. I could probably cool it down just a little. That might have been too much, but we'll see. And I think we need to add some ochre to this mix. And there was a little bit of some trees and stuff going on here. I don't know what it is, but just some color. Don't need to know what it is, you just need to know the shapes. Shapes and the color, put it down. Whew. Okay, that ochre is good. This is working because I went into the straight tube color only because I have a dirty brush. And I'm just scribbling. I'm scrubbing hard over the little pencil lines. And I want to fix the composition here. It needs to just kind of come down a little bit. That looks a little better. Okay, so we've got some light there. And I want to see where that darkest, yeah, I'll add a little. Now it's time for me to actually draw a little bit, because this is what's happening. I got ADD on the canvas. I am all over the place, and unless I sketch in where some key points are, I'm going to be lost. That's not going to show you how to do anything. So I'm going to take the little Carbazole violet and brush and highlight some key areas so I know where I am. All right, so I know the river. Let's see, we got river going around here. And that's my little demarcation line, that everything here needs to be mellow and everything below that can start singing. But you know, you need, it's like Gracie and Alan. You need a straight man. You need the neutrals in order for the bright guys to sing. It's got to happen. Got to have the contrast. Okay, so there's my little line there. That helps me not get too out of line. I don't need to draw anything else in. I just need to know where that was. Other side of the river. Okay. So, so the cameraman said today, there's always a show before the show. And he said something about me going off half-cocked and doing because I was going to do this painting in a wild way rather than really mellow. So then we got to talking about the origin of that, so we're thinking it probably has to do. I mean, it just cracked me up. We're thinking it probably has to do with pulling the trigger on a gun. But if you know the origin of that, can you Twitter me at Shannon Grissom and just tell me where that came from? We've got little bets running, and it'd be great to hear. And yeah, I guess I am going half-cocked on this painting. I am not as mellow as I was this morning. And some days are like that. Some sessions are like that. Some shows are like that. One thing you know is this is always real. We film live to tape, so what you see is what you get here. This is just what happens. All right, so that was a little brighter than I intended. Let's see, we got some green there. And I'll just tone it down with some white in a minute. But it made me feel good to put the color down. All right. And let's grab some sap green. All right, see, I'm going right into the straight tube colors because I'm there. Where else? It kind of goes up like this. Yeah, that's good. A little bit of light green. We could use some light green. Nice little mellow. Yeah, that didn't look too mellow, did it? that's really bright. But I'm going for it because that's just the mood that I'm in tonight. The brush was dirty, so that saved me. It made its own little neutral. All right, there's a little bit of light there. I'm twisting the brush as I go, and because it's dirty, it's got different things on it, it's creating some fun little things that I couldn't have planned. Happy accidents. Serendipity is a beautiful thing. Okay, so I need to finish this little mellow area because I can see I'm already turning up the volume, and it's a little too early for that. So I'll go in this little area back here, throw in some lights, nice quiet little passages. Okay, and let's see, we need a little more warmth there. This can just kind of come down this way. I'm conscious of this rhythm. If I don't follow the land, I definitely need to follow this rhythm that's going on here. What do I mean by that? It's just seesawing back and forth in an S shape. Now that's interesting. That I wasn't doing it just because of my name, or it's just interesting that came out that way. All right, it just needs a little more variation, so I'm going to grab some straight violet, and I'm just going with a dirty brush because I didn't feel like mixing. And more importantly than that, because I knew that with the paint that was down here, it would create a neutral. I used to mix every single thing separately. I don't paint that way. And what you're seeing is an evolution in my own painting right here on TV. A little bit different method from when we first started the show, many moons ago. All right, so I need to add some, you know what, this needs some red. That's really what it needs. I'm going to grab some pink though. It'll be a mellow red here. Well, it wasn't very mellow, was it? We'll tone it down. And add some more green. Fill this in. Add a little bit of light at the top. Okay, now I need to stand back, see what it's doing. And it's very mellow. That's good. It's starting to work. So now I need to just blend it and make some of these shapes come to life. All right, so what do we do here in order to, we need a little more contrast. I'm going to add a little bit of dark green. And I'm going to have to add a little red of that so that it's neutral. And I'll throw in a little tree here. Something going on there. There. Now I'll push this up, the dirty brush. And I should have my paper towel handy and wipe as I push this grass up. A little light here, here. And I'm thinking I need a little more value contrast back there. And I'm tempted to just totally analyze this whole thing, but when it's this fresh and this, you don't want to play with things until you get everything down. So I'm actually going to stop and not do that. Let me add some of the greens in and see where I need to go from here. All right, so we've got some water going here. How far does this go? This has got to be bigger, I think. Yeah. So I'm adding more. See, if you don't like the shapes that you see, make them what you want. Be the change you want to be. So I'm going to add some of this yellow, cad yellow deep, to that pink. I was going to use a dirty brush and that didn't work. So I'm going to get a clean one. I'm looking for a filbert. And I'm looking for just the right size. I feel like the three bears. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to push this up even more. There, I toned that down with the orange. Believe it or not, you take a bright color to tone it down a little bit. And I think I need to add the green. You can't blend this up unless you have something behind it to push it up into. So we're grabbing the green and going for it. And we're talking broad, quick strokes. It's got some red on it, that's okay. It's actually good. It's not the same color all over the place. That's awesome. Lighten it up a little bit. Let's see, maybe down here. I think that shape will be good like this. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of, now I can grab some of that yellow. There's so many color changes, so much variation. So just, if you see a little bit of color, put it down and have some fun with it. I'm dancing on the canvas here today. Okay, I'll add a little bit of the blue down there. I'm totally getting rid of the stuff that I did have in there, that I had drawn. And I'll add the blue. I'm making the river bigger. Rivers do that. So I'm adding a little blue to this light mixture I have. There we go. Scrubbing hard to get rid of more pencil lines. So I changed my mind on the drawing. That's okay. Oops. Got a little green in there. Should probably clean my brush. But I'm not too worried about it. I've had people in class where they get a color they don't want and they freak out and I say, you know what, you can blend it in, you can paint over it, you can just laugh and let it dry because there's nothing you can do about it till it dries. But either way, it's all good. I'm gonna add a little bit of this phthalo turquoise because I want to add, I really want that extra little punch in there. There we go. I don't want to put too much. And a little, do I want a little ultramarine blue? Yeah. I know you're thinking, what did they do? Where did Shannon go? There's no red. I don't know. I don't know. When I find her, I'll let you know. Okay, since I added some of this blue in here, I would probably need to add a little up there, but I'm not going there. I really want to get the canvas covered, and then we can play around with that if we have time. Okay, I'm not going to overblend this. Really, I'm not. Somebody stop me! I was really tempted to just overblend the heck out of that. Okay, so all right, I'm going to throw in some red just because I've made it this far and I'm going through withdrawal. And it's just happy next to the green. They love it. They are just happy together. Why? Okay, it's not just because they're happy. They're complementary. They're opposite on the color wheel, and that's why they love living next to each other. They're just great neighbors. Okay, now you can push some things up and make a little variation. So I'm going to get that same little scruffy brush. Maybe not. Maybe I'll get the green one. And what do I want to push up? A little here. And I'm going to vary this a little bit. That's fine. And just leave that alone. And now that this is in, I can actually pull some of this down, some of the green down, wiping as I go. And why is this other brush in my hand? Because I will probably use it, and if not, it makes me feel good. It's like a balance. It's a balance thing. Okay. There. So that's pushed up into that. That makes a little more sense there. And then I'm going to take the same little red, add a little. You know what? I think I need a little line of light in there. That would just make things make sense. So I'm going to throw in just a little light right here, then push it all up. This is softer than the other one. The softer side. Okay, and that needs more punch. I got 3 brushes going now. Watch out, like a gunslinger. That's where the half-cocked thing came out. All right, so now I'm going to push this up. And I definitely need to wipe that off. Okay, that's enough of that for now. What am I going to do down here? I don't know. I really don't. I'm going to stand back and look at it, see where we're at. Well, you're starting to get this sense of distance here. This has got to be a little more in your face, a little more going on in order for this to be pushed back. Right now, this is a mellow scene, and we need to add some Huevos to this. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so I see like a V shape of some greens, and I'll put that in. Okay, we are far enough into the program that I'm going into straight tube color because I can't mix anymore. All right, so let's see. I think about right here, that looks good. Now we are dancing on the canvas, okay? Did you see that? I hope you did. I had this great sketch done, and that went out the window once I started painting. And so now, you know, that you get in rhythm, you start dancing on the canvas. There. Well, that's a happy squiggle. That gives me a good sense of where I want that shrubbery to go and what's supposed to be going on there. I'm going to grab a little more sap green. Some right here. You know, in my head, my logical head is saying, I do have one somewhere. I'm not sure where, but it's saying, yeah, you should have started from the top and worked your way down. But I didn't, and it's okay. You just go from where you are with what you have. All right, so there's a little lighter gray up here. And a little right here. And you know what? It's time for some warmer reds, because goodness, it's just been too long. All right. I mean, we're talking red. We'll throw in some right here. Well, I need more paint on my brush for that to work. There we go. Just going to dance over there, maybe here. That's enough. Now back to the neutrals, because the red can't sing without the neutrals. Now this morning when I was painting, or it was mostly in the morning, I just let the music take me away, and I really just threw color down. And it was fun to see, because I really wasn't conscious when I was painting, it was fun to see what happened at the end of the session. And that actually is kind of what happens here. It's just a little different situation when you're talking to people. But either way, you get into that alpha state, and that's where the wonderful things happen. And we need some violet because it's happy. No, I'm actually doing this to ground it so that it's deeper here. I'm using it as a neutral, not just because it's happy. There's some logic behind all this somewhere. And maybe I'm going to ground this edge here, there. Now we don't have a floating river. Oh, I did not mean that pun. I did not. That was not intended, but I like that. I've always identified with rivers, probably because of my name. Okay, let's throw in some more, a little more warmth here. Some orange. And I'm thinking we need some bright green in there because it's getting too neutral. So I'm finding a clean brush Going straight. I love this phthalo yellow green. It's over the top. And as long as you use it in moderation, let's see. If you use it straight, I would equate it to my younger days doing shots. It's too much, just a little too much. Makes you happy, but just a little too much. So, so this has got some ice cubes thrown in or something there. Okay, there we go. Got a little color going on here. Filling that in so that's not so isolated. I mean, I am scribbling here. You can probably tell. Wow, the easel's squeaking like the doves out my back window. Okay, that's good there. Now I need to just really throw in some more color so that this thing starts to pop. I'm going straight for the yellows. Here's the dilemma. Or here's the choice I want to make. Can I just go over the top and first put down a layer of cad yellow, put down a layer of Indian yellow, and that way everything you put over the top of it is going to be wild? I'm tempted. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to show you what would happen. All right. So I'm going to move this over because this is the Rodney Dangerfield of yellows. And it's a little loud. And I'm going to just do it. All right, so I'm going to turn this over because it might be hard to see. I'm just going to... Ooh, yeah, this is so over the top. It's delicious. That's just awesome. Sometimes I will base an entire painting, do an entire underpainting with this yellow, and then everything on top just glows. Ooh, that's wild. Love it. I'm mixing in some of the green. That was not intentional. I've picked it up, but I'm not worried about it. Just putting it down. Yeah, this is over the top. Love it. Okay, I shall flip it over now. If you're going to paint it upside down, it's a good idea to have your reference photo upside down as well. You could stand on your head. I mean, just visualizing a bunch of painters in nature. No, I better not. Anyway, they actually have, no, you don't want to stand on your head or put your head between your legs to see that, to really see your painting. They actually have, instead of magnifying glasses, they actually have reducing glasses that will reduce it so that you can see what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of, we don't have much time left, so we're just going to dance the rest of the way home. I'm looking for just the perfect brush, right dance partner, and I'm going to move some white over quickly because once I start, I will just be attacking this thing. Sometimes you wrestle with the canvas. This is not one of them, but okay, so we want some light here. That helps lighten that up there. And where else is some more light? And there's actually, just right over the top of that, some light there, light there. This is an awesome first statement. I'm thinking the best thing to do is to make this a two-parter, and we'll do another episode where I totally come back and finish both pieces, or finish one of them. All right, so we've got some light there right over the top. Need to kind of fix these edges here. There we go. Some connections. And then I'm going to take this green and go over the top of the yellow. It's going to have a different look than it would if you just went straight over the white. And it's harder to work wet on wet like this. Normally when I put the yellow on, I let it dry first before I go over the top. But I wanted you to see what it does. Wild. Wild, wild, wild. Okay, we'll add some violet. That's kind of fun. That'll make a nice neutral because of the yellow. Some neutral here. And you know what? You can't see that. I'm going to lift this up. There. Now the trick is, when it's wet like this, is to not go back and blend what you just put down, because you'll lose it. Got to keep moving. And I need some just straight green. And a cleaner brush. We're almost there. Just to get a canvas covered in this amount of time. I mean, time is, some people will be able to do this quickly and other people will take them days, and that's okay. Whatever feels good for you. Liking that. Leaving some of that underpainting showing. It's going to be fun to play with. So what's the moral of this story? Sometimes you just have to go off half-cock and try something new. Try a different way of doing it. So what we're going to do here, this has got some wild, vibrant. It's a great start. Both of these are starts. Some days are more about fine detail and really taking your time being contemplative. Other days are totally wild, off the chart, just dancing on the canvas. Neither one's better, they're all good. So I just want to encourage you to try this at home, give your own wall some soul. We're going to come back with another episode and definitely take this to its final stage. Thanks for watching Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom. I'm melting, I'm melting.